Hello everyone, I'm TRG and in today's video I'll be looking back at a little known game called Dare to Dream. A game that I'm pretty sure the author would love the world to forget about. Cliffy B, sorry for digging this thing up, but the world has to know. And it's a perfect example. A perfect example why if you're an aspiring game developer, your first games might be really shit and you shouldn't give up. We all know about Cliff's work on such hit series like Jazz Jackrabbit, Unreal and Gears of War, but you never start off creating a masterpiece. You start off by creating a piece of crap, and you get better with each next thing. And this was certainly one stinking pile of poop. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever played, but back in the day, Epic Mega Games wanted $30 for the second and third episode of this game. It sold poorly, just like another $30 title Cliff worked on. Yeah, people didn't go nuts over volumes 2 and 3. Beware! This is no ordinary game. It contains dangerously high levels of suspense and challenge. People who like boredom need not apply. I don't like boredom. And even I am disappointed by this. The story is that you're Tyler, a boy who has increasingly terrifying and realistic nightmares after losing his father. Here's a beautiful artwork depicting our protagonist. Oh, don't you worry. It gets so much better. The overall theme of the game tries to be dark, but for me it falls flat on its face into the edgy fanfic category. Let's start off with the first shareware episode. Right off the bat you can see the interface is split into 3 windows: the main game screen where you'll be doing most of the interaction, the status box which tells you what things are and what is the result of your actions, and the controls for saving, loading, talking to characters and managing your inventory. It's pretty simple. But before you click anything, the game will ask you 2 questions, one about turning on extra tips on how to play the game, and the second one asking you about enabling easy mode. And I highly recommend you do choose that mode, because the regular changes up the game in such a way that I get stuck less than 1 minute into the game and I'm not even sure if you can complete it that way. This mode is also exclusive to the shareware episode only. The gameplay is simple. You're in a dream world and you have to point and click your way to waking up. Depending on where your cursor lands, it will change into a magnifying glass, exit arrows, or speech bubbles depending on what kind of interaction you can do. Double clicking will interact with things or use your current item with the thing on the screen. And that's pretty okay-ish, I guess, until you realize this turns the whole game into pixel hunting on each screen, as it's not often clear what can and cannot be interacted with. There's usually 1 or 2 things, but it can be still quite annoying. But most of the time there is absolutely no indication that something might warrant clicking it. As you can see from the video in the background, the game features gratuitous amounts of professional MS Paint pixel art of the highest quality with beautiful characters. Also, is that Commander Keen? Huh. Seems someone here didn't like id Software very much. Sarcasm aside, I've seen worse stuff. There was a clear attempt at making this look nice, but 18-year-old Cliffy just, well, let's say he lacked the skills. Many first attempts at anything look good and no one should be discouraged for that though. Overall, the first chapter of the game is actually not that bad. It has simple puzzles, no moon logic, and you get to blow Both's head with a double-barreled shotgun. The dialogues with various characters are mostly pointless though, as the writing and the story is just meh. Sometimes they will give you tips on how to proceed in the game, but I found myself just clicking through all of the options until something happened. The goal of the first chapter is to figure out what's happening and get out of this dream, and you can finish it quite quickly. The second chapter focuses on going back to the dream world using a magical unicorn key and fighting the Nightmare. which according to all the NPCs is in a well-hidden location. Except the part where it's out in the open, guarded by a talking bone and rock. Yeah, great job. It also features more nightmare fuel. Character artwork. Yeah. Look at this adorable kitten, or this ant queen, or anything. But the crown jewel of this episode must be... are you ready? This beauty! Princess Peach, eat your goddamn heart out! Seriously, I cannot get over how terrible she looks. In today's standards, this is essentially DeviantArt OC, the video game. $15. $15 for this graphical masterpiece. Oh. The second episode seems more involved, requiring you to pretty much talk to everyone in order to progress. There's more puzzles and overall is much longer than the first episode. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pixel hunting in this chapter, more so than the first one. Finally, it finishes up with the third episode, Christian's Lair, in which we're inside the nightmare. Essentially, it's hell. Skulls, blood, trees with evil eyes, skeletons, darkness. It's a very spooky place. It's also the worst episode. I mean, it looks childishly nightmarish, it's confusing to navigate, and its puzzles can be a little cryptic, but I simply hated running back and forth throughout the whole episode so I could use a single item to progress through the game. The biggest complaint I have is how it looks all the same. All screens barely use the color palette and just use red, blue and black. That's all. Meaning all screens pretty much blend together and don't really connect to each other well. It also makes it even more difficult to see stuff. I had to consult a walkthrough in this episode as I could not find a bucket that was hidden away in the darkness using the same color as the background objects. Lovely stuff. Or I didn't know that on the first screen there's hidden dust on the wall. I did, however, find the bungee cord hidden in the exact same way, blending in with the background. There's also a very gory scene in this episode, which I'm gonna leave out simply because of YouTube rules. Seriously, it's kind of fucked up. Cliffy, what the fuck were you thinking? The episode finishes up with a big confrontation between Tyler and Christian. Or rather, Tyler's eyes and Christian's skull, as there's nothing else drawn on the background. Christian pulls the "I am your father" card. Tyler almost succumbs to him, but then his friend shows up and sacrifices himself, I guess, to help Tyler escape. Tyler wakes up, runs to his father's grave, proclaims he has destroyed the evil within, and says how much he misses him. Except he's lying, he didn't destroy jack shit, he just ran away again from his own nightmares and left his best friend to die. Yeah. I get that this story was supposed to touch on the loss and grievances of a child that has lost a parent, but its delivery is just so poor. Like I said previously, it feels more like an edgy fanfic with no fleshed out characters. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, because in all honesty, I probably make an equally poor game myself. But this, back in 1993, even though it wasn't good, opened up a career for Cliff in the game development world. And your first game, even if it's not great, might be a stepping stone towards something greater. A year later, together with Arjan Arjan, I guess, and other team members, they created one of the best MS-DOS platformers for the PC of all time, just Jackrabbit. He made something again, and this time, it was better. One thing creators can agree on is that the first projects weren't that great. Artists, musicians, programmers, they all look back at their creations and see how far they've come. So, this is a little thing I want you to take away from this video instead of the irregular review. Success doesn't happen overnight, so just remember to keep on trying. My name has been TRG and I hope you enjoyed this video.